Hi everyone, Jade here from Nested Knowledge. Today I'm going to show you how to use meta-analytical extraction. If you haven't configured your interventions and data elements just yet, see my previous video, as this video we're talking about what happens next when we actually extract the quantitative data from underlying studies. This whole process, I should remind you, is manual and can be quite time consuming, so I would make sure it's the right decision for you before you move forward. Great, but the first thing you do is navigate to the MA extraction module on the left-hand side here. It looks similar to the tagging module and previous modules that you've seen, as we've got each study in succession. We've got the full text in the middle, and then on the right-hand side we have some data to fill out. The first thing you'll do is add in the interventions by clicking this plus sign in the top right and clicking the drop-down. In the drop-down, we've got all of the interventions that we defined in the tag hierarchy from that purple branch. We've got the root tag and all of the interventions underneath. And you'll see with these tag icons, these are the two interventions that were previously tagged to sort of help us quickly input those arm sizes. So the first we'll do is the preset, and you'll get a red cross because you have to input the arm size. So if I scroll down to the table in here, okay, that's 173, great. And once I input that, the red cross turns into a green tick and all of the data elements are then shown underneath in here. We know that there's another intervention, so I'll go ahead and add that one in as well. The solitaire at 167, great. And then as I'm inputting these interventions, they're getting inputted under these data elements just here. Next, you'll be filling out the data elements and the quantitative data. You'll see these also have little tags next to them, so that indicates that we've tagged them previously, and we can actually click on them to auto scroll us to that portion of the full text to help us again extract that data a bit faster. The first thing you'll do is add in a time point. So if you select the drop down here, you've got baseline, outcome, or other time point. We know that median age is a baseline characteristic, so we'll leave it at baseline, that it will be 0 since it's at the start of this study, and then you may also input a unit here. More relevant for, again, outcomes or other time points, but you have that choice here. And once you're given the go-ahead, then you can start inputting the actual data for each of the arms, and you've got the totals listed here. And so what you'll do is manually input that for each of these data elements that you see here, clicking on the tag icon to refer us to the portion of the text where that data is. If you wish to add, say, another annotation just for reference later on, you may do so by clearing the current selection, maybe selecting text that might be relevant, say if I highlight this, and then clicking where it says annotation just here, and then add new. So we can see here the previous annotation from the tagging stage is here, and the new annotation that we've added at the MA extraction stage is here. And you can find those later on when you're QAing in Study Inspector, for example. So as you're going through, you'd fill out that data, and it's important to note that data elements that don't have a tag may not be relevant for that study. So be sure to notice that as you're going through. Once you've filled out all of that data, you may want to skip to the next study, or you may want to hit complete. And hitting complete means that it won't show up in the queue again. Hitting skip adds it to the back of the queue, as we've seen in previous modules. After you've hit complete and you've extracted all the data from the underlying studies, there are a few things that you can do next. You may want to take a look at the outputs pretty much immediately. To do that, we'll have to turn on quantitative synthesis. Head to settings, scroll down to where it says quantitative synthesis, toggle that on, then we'll head to synthesis. You'll see that quantitative synthesis is now in this drop down, and then you can navigate and explore all of these different tabs. I have another video on that if you want to do a bit more of a deep dive, but it's important to note that MA extraction is directly related to quantitative synthesis. Another thing you might do is just want to download and export all of that data. If you've seen my previous video on Study Inspector, you can go ahead and follow what I've mentioned in there, but for purposes of this video, you'd navigate to Study Inspector, maybe you'd filter to the included studies or whatever batch of studies you're looking at, In this case, we've only extracted the included studies, so it's best to filter to that. Go to download in the top right, select from this drop down Meta-Analytical extracted data, and this is going to give you a spreadsheet of all of the data from the underlying studies that we've extracted, which oftentimes statisticians use to then do further analyses, which can be really helpful. Great. Okay, thanks so much for watching. That's how you use Meta-Analytical extraction. Cheers, bye.